Thanks for watching Fox 43 Plus and Fox43.com. I'm Ed Albert. Today we're talking baseball, the history of baseball, specifically the impact of black baseball in America. Central PA's most well known teams include the Harrisburg Giants and the York Monarchs. Joining us with some perspective on that is Gerald Early. Gerald, he is a professor of African American Studies at Washington University in St. Louis and is also an author who contributed to Ken Burns documentaries, including Baseball and Jackie Robinson. Gerald, thanks for being with us today. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
Well, let's jump right into it here, Gerald. You're out with a new book that's called Play Harder, The Triumph of Black Baseball in America. And you worked on that with the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum. Why was it important to you to write this book?
It's important to write the book in part because it is accompanying exhibit at the National Baseball Hall of Fame. And I thought that, and everyone at the Hall of Fame thought that having this book to accompany the exhibit would be crucial for getting this information out to fans and to the general public about how Black people have contributed to baseball. It was important for me also just as a piece of work to reach the public about something I think is very important.
So we'll jump to that again real quick. I was just at the Hall of Fame, saw that exhibit. It's very well done. You mentioned in the acknowledgments of the book as well about how that sort of working with them on the exhibit led you to the book. So what are your thoughts on that exhibit? And why did you think that the book was the way to go after working with them on that project?
I think the exhibit is tremendous. It was a update on the exhibit that they had, and they wanted to update it and add more technology, interactive stuff. The book was important. It's not unusual for a museum exhibit to have a book accompany it, and we thought in this particular instance it would be really a way to show people how important this subject was to the Hall of Fame. Also to educate the public about aspects of baseball that the public may not be fully aware of.
Here in our area here in South Central Pennsylvania, we have a couple of teams that played here, the Harrisburg Giants, the York Monarchs. You begin the book in the 1860s. The Harrisburg Giants started that year as the Monrovia Baseball Club, founded by Thomas Morris Chester. They played Raymond Burr's Pyanthea Club of Philadelphia. They lost 59-27 that year. So just how significant of an impact did Pennsylvania have on black baseball at that time?
Well, Pennsylvania was an active place in the beginnings of baseball after the Civil War, and Pennsylvania was very active in uh, black baseball as well. Philadelphia was also a key place. Pittsburgh would eventually become a very key place later in the 20th century with black baseball. So Pennsylvania was very important. The East was very important in the development of baseball and black baseball in those early days in the 1860s, right after the Civil War. Washington, D.C. was another key place where black baseball developed.
One of the more notable players that was on that Harrisburg Giants team was Oscar Charleston, player manager from 1923 to 28. Likely his best season was in 1925 when he went 427, 20 homers, 97 RBI, won a couple of batting titles in the Eastern Colored League in 24 and 25, moved on to the Crawfords and went into the Hall of Fame in 1976. With a player like that with those numbers, and in the book you talk about a lot of other influential players. How important is it to highlight those careers and why people need to know that even maybe aren't baseball fans about why these folks were so impactful in not just baseball, but also in our society?
Well, it's important for people to know, number one, that Black people devoted a lot of time and energy to developing baseball teams, trying to develop leagues, and working on developing players. That when the Black leagues were finally formed in the 1920s, one of the reasons was that Black baseball owners wanted to be able to develop players for when the major leagues finally would integrate. And so having the leagues was very important to show that Black people could develop players of a caliber that could play in the major leagues. So that's very important to know about people like Oscar Charleston and what he was able to achieve, and that Oscar Charleston was a quality of ball players. Many of the other Black players of the Negro Leagues that could have played in the major leagues, he didn't get his shot at it, and several others didn't either, great players, but he was one of them that could have played. It's important for people to know that that was important for Black people to develop that kind of thing. And it was and Black and being able to play baseball at the highest level, to be able to participate in athletics in the highest level in this country was something that was important for Black people to do.
And I think I find that really interesting as you go through the book, and anybody that picks it up. You sort of give us that trip through history, right, and bring us right along through there. And so part of that, going on is, you talk a lot about, Jackie Robinson and what he was able to accomplish, and the struggles of also trying to integrate society at the same time. And so, it almost sort of seems like it's not just a baseball book, maybe, right? It also focuses on these issues in society and things that maybe we are still dealing with today.
Well, it isn't just a baseball book. It is about because baseball in this book is sort of like a kind of microcosm about Black people in society. Here was one area, a small area, but an important one, where Black people were organizing, Black people were forming teams and things like that. Black people were promoting baseball in their communities and wanting to develop players and all this sort of thing. In part because they wanted to integrate, but also because they wanted to be able to develop businesses and to show that they could do things on their own independently and really help to uplift the race and uplift Black people through these kind of activities that they were doing. Baseball is a rather minor thing. It isn't as important as, starting the NAACP or something like that. But it is important in many ways to show people trying to lift themselves up and trying to improve their lives, and also to provide entertainment for Black people.
And some of the pictures and photographs, historical things that you were able to pull together for inside the book, really, I think, demonstrate that a lot of showing those different events. So anybody that picks that up would be really cool. I want to just finish with this. As I mentioned, pulls you through history all the way up to including some things on present time. And so that's where I want to ask you here. Finally, is where do you think the game, Black baseball, where do you see us going from here in the present time and 10, 15, 20, 50 years into the future?
Well, Black Americans are not as engaged in the game as they used to be. There are major efforts being done by Major League Baseball to engage Black Americans more, not only as fans, but also as players, because Black Americans only make up about 6.5% of players in Major League Baseball. They used to make up a much higher percentage about 25 years ago. So it's important to try to re-engage Black Americans in the game because the game has been so important to them historically. And so I think the future would be working to re-engage Black Americans in the game, both as fans and as players. And I think that can happen. And I think to make sure that everybody feels included and feel that this game is important, because this game is so important to America itself. It's essential to our identity as Americans, I think, more than any other game.
Very well said, Gerald. Thank you. His book is out now. It is called Play Harder: The Triumph of Black Baseball in America. Gerald Early in the National Baseball Hall of Fame putting that together. You can find that where books are sold. Gerald, thank you so much for your time today, and thank everybody out there for watching.
Thank you.
Continue with us and watch free now on the Fox 43 Plus app everywhere you stream.